Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the CD Podcasts, formerly known as the Kian and Dylan Podcast. My name is Dylan.
And I'm Gin.
And we've been away for a while. This is going to be our first episode on the new channel. I'll be posting updates and stuff on the social media, letting people know where we're at now. Basically, the podcast is going under renovation a bit. We're going to be we're still going to be uploading the full podcast, but we will also be uploading segmented highlights to cut it down a bit more
Make it
because
easier
we
to
know,
watch.
yeah, it's a bit more digestible, and all the other podcasts are doing it, so gotta get with the trends, you know. Um, so this is our first podcast post coronavirus. Well, not post coronavirus, still going through it, but where we are at least, it's a bit more died down. I feel like we couldn't really go through this podcast without at least acknowledging the current circumstances. Um, yeah, so we're just I hope everybody's okay. That's about all I can say on that. Really, all the jokes have already been made. Everything has been said. So we're just gonna keep on keeping on. The first thing we wanted to talk about in this podcast was the Halo Infinite new gameplay trailer.
And Craig.
Yes.
Craig.
Yeah, so well, I think we should start off with just our thoughts on it.
Okay.
Honestly, I thought it looks nice. It genuinely does look
I
really
think
good.
people are making way too big a deal about graphics. Like, people that
Yeah,
play Fortnite are complaining about the graphics of
I
Infinite. Like, I'm just saying,
yeah, like I think like as with anything else, the negative opinions are more interesting
Mm-hmm.
than and they'll grab like the thumbnails and the titles you can make with a negative opinion will grab more attention than a positive one.
Yeah.
Like nobody's like more people will click because it's drama.
Mm-hmm.
People want to see some drama. Like I was looking up like clips before we
Yeah.
were recording this, and if you type up just like Halo Infinite, all the top results are like Halo Infinite is ruined. Halo have
Yeah.
ruined the
It's like,
franchise. So much hope, so much despair now, and it's like, bro, you like this is just like the first gameplay trailer. Like, do you know
mm-hmm.
how much work is going to be done between now
And
and
like,
when the game actually
yeah.
comes out?
And it's a demo as well. Like, this
Hmm.
demo was probably designed months ago. Like,
Yeah, like this is not even what the game a week ago is different than what it is now.
yeah.
Like, it's like people are just getting really mad and they're setting themselves up to look like fools in a few months when it actually comes out and it looks fucking fine, you know?
And
Um,
have you? I've mentioned that photo of the Mass Effect Gears 5
yeah, like I saw that and like,
resemblance.
uh, yeah, which is how, like, they in the Halo subreddit, like people
Yeah.
compared how Gears of War 5 looked prior to coming out
Mhm.
in like the first trailer compared to release.
Yeah.
I turn my vibrate off on my phone. That is unprofessional. Um, and like it's like night and day. It's
Mhm.
completely different. And like I didn't play Gears 5, but I'm sure that the main complaints about the game were not about graphics, you know. Um, but the graphics is always an easy one to pick on, really,
Yeah.
because it's like people are always expecting like now because of games like Uncharted and The Last of Us, stuff like that. People are expecting every game now,
Mhm.
to look like movies, and they don't even have the slightest understanding of like art style and the fact that different studios work on
Yeah.
different games.
And the
Like,
most important fact: performance over quality.
mm,
Like, I'd
yeah,
rather play at a consistent 60 frames than have my game look really nice but run terribly.
And people don't even realize, like, it's all the people that are playing are like people that are going to be playing it on console anyway,
Yeah.
right? You're not even going to be playing it to the highest performance
And even
standard.
people on
Like,
PC, we're
yeah,
likely going to drop our graphics to the lowest possible to get the most performance out of it. Look at games like Overwatch. I play
yeah, like,
Overwatch on the lowest possible to maximize frames, and that's going to be the exact same with Halo. No one's going to play this game on its maximum quality.
yeah. Like, you think someone with like a £500 PC is going to be like running the graphics on max,
Mm-hmm.
shaders on max, everything on fucking max.
Exactly, no one's going to do that.
like I play pretty much everything on like medium to low, even if I can run it at
Sure,
max,
Valorant?
just because it'll run better.
Valorant?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Valorant, the graphics, even on high or bad, even Valorant, I run completely on the lowest settings. Like,
Hmm.
I will run, if it's a shooter, I will always run it in the lowest settings. Look at games like League of Legends, CSGO, Fortnite. None of them have really good graphics. They're just generic, bottom of the barrel,
Hmm.
playable graphics, and they focus more on the gameplay side of it.
And yeah, and because like I'm sure they want to make it as like in terms of longevity, because I was watching a video on it and like they were talking about there was like an interview with
Mm-hmm.
the devs and stuff, and they were saying this is going to be the last main like Halo game for about another 10 years probably.
Jeez.
So they're setting this up to be the Halo game to play for the
Yeah.
next 10 years. And so like graphics are gonna we can't even imagine what they're gonna be like in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is not even gonna be something we're talking about in the next 10 years, right? Like it's not even worth mentioning because like people go back and play Halo Reach
Yeah.
and Halo 3 and all these games. Nobody complains about the graphics because the
Mm-hmm.
games are fucking good.
Yeah.
Like graphics were still are really good for their time. Some of them borderline ahead of their time would be mainstream games now, you know. But like the story is good, the gameplay is
Mm-hmm.
good. That matters because like the graphics aren't going to be the thing that's keeping your attention on the
Yeah.
screen.
It's
It'll be
the
the story.
gameplay
And
and all that. Yeah.
if I
The
want to watch
only
something, I'll follow like a photography Instagram, and then I can just
Yeah.
stimulate the mind.
Yeah. If I had to have one nitpick though, I
Mm-hmm.
think some of the weapons in the game could use more detail. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen the
I
photo
think.
between Halo Reach and this, but
Mm-hmm.
all the guns, especially the assault rifle, is so flat. It's like
Yeah.
there's no bumps in it. It's just a pixel. And I'll admit, when you're playing a first-person shooter where your gun is what you're constantly seeing, you want to see a nice gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm not saying it's perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a good start,
Yeah.
and it's a promising start is the thing. Because like I do think in terms of the overall like the world they're in, it looks like fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if they release that now, there would be very few complaints.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main problems that people were complaining about in terms of graphics were stuff like the guns and
Mm-hmm.
the way Chief looks. Personally,
Correct.
I don't mind the way Chief looks. I do
I love
think
his design,
I think
honestly.
he's a wee bit I think he's a wee bit bright, but that's about it.
But
And
I
I'm
think
sure they'll
that's
tone that
yeah, I
down.
think that's just the toning of the demo.
Hmm. I think that yeah, because it's just starting out, so it's not even something
Mm-hmm.
worth worrying about. The main I do see a lot of people complain about sprint being one thing. People don't like the grappling hook, sliding. Like so, start out with
Can I
sprint,
make a hot
right?
take quickly?
Yeah.
I don't know if this might be a hot take, it might not be. Back in 2000 and Halo 3 came out 2009, was it? Or 2008? Or maybe earlier.
Mhm.
But whenever Halo 3 came out, and CE back 2001, Halo 2, it was completely accepted to not have sprinting in a shooter. But
Mhm.
once COD hit like peak popularity, sprinting was normalized. And
Yeah.
to make a modern shooter where you're trying to bring people back to what is a dying franchise, you need to implement sprint. It's
Hmm.
very important you put sprint in that game to bring more people. It's optional.
Yeah.
You don't have to sprint.
Hmm.
I play Halo Reach and never use sprint because I know if you're in that animation and someone's already pointing, for you to even react, your entire character has to go like that, and the time it takes for them to shoot you once.
Hmm.
But that's what makes the difference between a good player and a bad player. And that's extra skill, in my opinion, is knowing when to and when not to sprint in multiplayer. And another complaint that sprint uh, gets is it changes the map design.
Hmm.
Maps are bigger to make up for sprinting. Halo Reach, in my opinion, has some of the best maps in Halo, and it was the first Halo to include sprint. Halo 5 has really small maps in arena,
Hmm.
and despite having sprint, so I think the sprint complaint are a lot of people just getting annoyed about something that doesn't need to be looked like. I think people are
Hmm.
looking too much into sprint.
Yeah, like in the campaign, especially, like it doesn't really matter because you're at no disadvantage if you don't use it because there's a difficulty. There's difficulty modes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're having trouble just not using sprint, bump the
Yeah.
difficulty down. Nobody fucking cares, right? And it's probably because there's the whole stigma of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, people play games on easy mode. They play it on amateur. You're not a real gamer unless you play it on like fucking insane legendary. Like personally, I don't care. I just play it on whatever I'm gonna enjoy it the
Yeah.
most. Um, if I want a challenge, I'll bump it up.
Okay,
If I
if you
wanted,
like how I respond to that, try playing the very beginning of Skyrim on Legendary. It's not
mm,
possible. See, when you're in that room and you get attacked by the two guards, and all you have is an axe, doing that
mm,
on Legendary and running out of magic constantly while you're trying to heal is not easy with the terrible AI.
yeah, and like I could see, the complaints in online, but like we don't even know if that's gonna be the case. All we know is campaigns so far.
Yeah.
They likely will add it, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. It's the exact same thing as the campaign. You don't have to use it.
Yeah.
No one's forcing you to use it. If other people around you are using it, you to your advantage. Just become better at the
Yeah.
game. It's not hard. Um, I guess you want to move on to the grappling hook.
Wait, one more thing about
Is
Sprint.
Yep.
It's an open world game from what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine
Which is
traveling
interesting.
across that without Sprint.
No sprint.
Like,
Yeah.
you're just
Because
walking
there's gonna be
everywhere.
missions where you don't have a warthog
Yeah.
or a mongoose, and you gotta sprint. You're gonna
Yeah.
use it, so high you know you're gonna
Yeah.
use it.
That's
Um,
going to.
yeah, like personally, I don't mind. I've always like I use sprint when it's there,
Mm-hmm.
just because I like to get through things quicker.
Yeah.
And like you said about dropping the gun, and they've already shot you. It's just a thing you gotta adapt to.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
gotta know
it's
when to
just
sprint and
another
when not to sprint.
just another blockade you got to go around.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in like it's not even in like in previous games, it's not a continuous thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, they stop for you to breathe, so you can get used to it. I'm sure. One thing I want to talk about the grappling
Yeah.
hook, which I think is interesting. I fucking love
Yeah,
grappling
I
hooks
love it.
in games.
I think
I
it's a
want
good
grappling hooks
feature.
in every game. Like,
Is that why I play Pathfinder in Apex?
yes, I fucking love grappling hooks. Um, I don't see why people have such a problem with it.
I think though
Like,
it's not. It's people don't have as big a problem with it though as the sprint, which I actually find funny. Like we're talking
yeah,
moving quicker compared to an entirely new mechanic we've never even seen
yeah,
before.
like for all we know, it could end up being shit in the game.
Yeah,
But
we
I've
don't
never
know
had a
yet.
grappling hook, never had a grappling hook in a game that I've had a problem with.
And on
Um,
top of that, why do people not like them adding new stuff into Halo? Like,
mm-hmm. They
XQC
keep,
made a really good point in this during his stream. So for Halo to keep going forward, they need to revamp everything. Like Halo hasn't been doing well since Reach.
Mhm.
Like, yes, Reach is a great game for some people, but when we look overall, it pretty much killed Halo. And then
Mhm.
Halo 4 killed Halo. And then Halo 5 killed Halo. Because they never added anything new into the game that people liked. And now
Mhm.
they've added something that looks like it could actually be fun to use. You know, Halo 5 went and added so much new stuff. It added, like, new Spartan abilities. You know, you could thrust around the place, you could fly in the air. This is
Mhm.
just one grappling hook. One little addition, which
And
people
it's not even a
dread
continuous
using.
thing.
Yeah,
You pick it up once, you get to use it once, and then
yeah,
you gotta find it again. And
exactly.
online, it's like a one thing. It's one grappling hook, and everybody's
Mm-hmm.
trying to like go after it. It's like it's not just gonna be like Titanfall. Everybody's zooming about,
Yeah,
you know. Although we all know like Titanfall 2 is fucking pog,
I've never
you
played it,
know.
but I want to play it.
It is really good. I would get it on my PC if um, but unfortunately I can't.
Hmm.
But like, because it just makes you feel so free.
And
You
it's
know,
fun to
you're
use.
just zooming about. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun. Like it's so fun. Like I don't really, I don't get why anybody's complaining,
mm,
because it only seems like it's gonna be used in like the smallest instance,
yeah,
like to get up somewhere so you don't have to like climb. You know, like they're doing stuff with the maps that they've never done before.
yeah,
You know, it's like you're gonna have to just zoom up somewhere instead of running the entire way around a mountain. You know, it's
yeah.
different. It's not terrible. It's good. Um,
And we've seen 10 seconds of gameplay from it, and people are
mhm.
judging it's going to kill Halo. No, no,
Like, listen, man, if they couldn't kill Halo with the previous two
no.
games, don't think this one's gonna put the final nail in the coffin.
I'd argue Halo 5 did kill Halo, and this is them trying to bring it back.
Yeah, like, if they can generate this much interest about the game after Halo 5, like,
Isn't Halo 5 the worst selling Halo game of all time?
um,
Pretty sure
I
I read
wouldn't,
that somewhere,
I imagine it
but
probably
I could
would
be
be.
wrong.
I don't even think I completed it.
I
I don't
completed it, but it
remember.
wasn't fun. Two missions in that game are just cinematics. It's such a bad game.
Yeah,
The multiplayer
uh,
gameplay was fun.
yeah, that's like the multiplayers are rarely bad
Yeah.
because like it's at the end of the day it's largely up to the player
Mm-hmm.
how bad it ends up becoming.
Yeah.
Um, like as we can both agree, the Griff Ball on Halo 5 is
Amazing.
probably the best because
You could
they
throw the
continuously
ball.
yeah they continuously improved it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be fucking psyched to play Griff Ball in a new format again.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh.
hopefully, hopefully they definitely add it and they don't fuck it up.
And they don't do what they've done
Uh,
with MCC, where they've decided, okay, let's have it be an event that happens every 5 weeks.
yep,
Hate that.
I want to play Griff Ball all the time
Mm-hmm.
because, like, there's a genuine esport potential with Griff Ball that
It is
I'm not looking
fun.
into.
Dude, we went like a
Then
20 game winning streak that day with
yeah,
Weekend.
like there's like genuine skill involved in that game mode.
Especially in Halo 5's. Like in Halo
Hmm.
Reach, you could argue it's just kill the enemy team.
Yeah,
But Halo 5, you actually have to like pass the ball to one another, get it
like
through the
it became
defense.
strategic.
Yeah,
Whereas in Halo Reach, it was just mindless. Oh, like the scoring of goals took a back seat to killing,
because you get more score for
hmm
killing anyway. Yeah,
and then it became more fun to actually play it as a sport.
yeah.
Which, as long as they don't fuck up Griffball, as long as there's always something for me to do, I won't mind. You know.
I
Um,
also want to see a new game mode, you know,
hmm
and I want them to do Infected properly. I
hmm
think Halo Reach, without a doubt, had the best Infected. Halo 4 was interesting, how you looked like a flood. Halo
hmm
5's was terrible because you could use any weapon in the game.
hmm
But Halo Reach, in my opinion, perfected Infected so well.
What do you think about the sliding?
That doesn't bother me. Like,
Yeah.
sliding, I can understand. I think actually, out of all three features, I actually think sliding is the worst.
Mhm.
but only because in games like Destiny, you see it all the time. You can abuse
Yeah.
sliding with a shotgun. You know, get a shotgun,
Yeah.
slide under someone, and just one shot them.
Mhm.
But I think the actual system of sliding isn't the problem because it's the players who abuse it that are the problem. But
Mhm.
I think sliding's alright.
Again, the campaign especially, it's gonna be
Yeah.
good because it just makes it more like action packed. You know.
Mhm.
Uh, Honestly, yeah, it doesn't even bother me because it's like it's another one. If you don't like it,
Yeah.
you don't have to use it. So,
And once
like,
again, all modern shooters have it, more or less.
mhm.
You
And
know,
we all played them. We all played them.
and we all have
I
fun
don't see
playing them.
why. I don't see why Halo should have these specific rules. You know,
Yeah.
like the fans made up these rules that the game has to go by, and
Yeah.
expect like the devs to just continuously follow them. I was like, no. It's like they're making the game. You're choosing to play it. It's not the other way
And
around.
if
They
the
don't-
devs did listen to the Halo players that
they
wanted this,
probably ruin the game.
yeah, because they wouldn't get any new players. You know,
Hmm.
as much as they want to please the old fans, Halo isn't going to exist without new players playing the game. Because another complaint I've seen is Battle Royale not being in Halo. And I saw this terrible take on Twitter the other day, and they
Hmm.
said something along the lines of like, you know, you guys really should add a Battle Royale. People don't play campaigns anymore. And I was thinking,
Yeah, that's a dog
yes,
shit
that
take.
is true. But in Halo, Halo isn't like COD. You know, in COD, obviously I haven't played too much COD, but I know from what I've heard,
Hmm.
more or less, the story doesn't connect all the time. Like some games have like a connected story,
Hmm.
but overall, the story's not always connected. In Halo, it's always connected. You know, Halo One leads in or Combat Evolved leads into Halo 2, which leads into Halo 3, which leads into Halo 4, which leads into Halo 5.
Hmm.
People care about Halo's campaign. People care about the characters. A battle
Hmm.
royale would bring the wrong audience to the game, in my opinion.
I don't think it could like it wouldn't ruin it as long as it was a separate thing. Like I wouldn't mind it, but it wouldn't bring anything new to the
Yeah.
battle royale genre, which is the problem I would have with that.
Hmm.
It would just be another battle royale.
And people
Like
have
it's
already
not.
found what battle royales they enjoy playing as well. You know.
Hmm. Like I can't imagine anything that they could possibly add that would make it like unique in any
Yeah.
way other than you play as like a Spartan. But like, because you look at Black Ops 4,
Hmm.
their battle royale was just a battle royale with COD.
Yeah.
And then you look at something like Warzone. Warzone's completely different to the other
Hmm.
stuff. I can people really enjoy it,
Yeah.
but nobody plays Black Ops 4's battle royale
Yeah. Yeah.
anymore.
Exactly.
Like
Did you
it's
know
it,
CS:GO has a battle royale as well?
yeah. I've never even played it. Somebody don't um I don't know. It's just like I it's just one of those things. We'll all
Yeah.
forget about it. Nobody would ever play it. Uh, yeah, that's all I can say about that.
Jeez.
Uh,
I think it will be a good game though. Like final
yeah, like,
verdict, I think it's going to be good, and people are
mm,
judging it way too quickly.
mm, like, yeah, I think the same because if you go in with a closed mind, you're
Mm-hmm.
instantly gonna like, you're never gonna see the bigger picture because
Yeah.
you're only gonna focus on the things that you preemptively knew you were gonna dislike.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna see the little intricacies that make the game better. Like, I don't know, man. I think as long as they just don't mislead people with what
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be, then this will probably be the best Halo in a long time.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's not
it's
hard to
like,
be better in Halo 5.
hmm I'm interested to see like how the setup is gonna be for the next 10 years
Yeah.
because this, like, as we know, it's Halo. it's been 5 years since the last one. Yeah. They haven't they've not maintained a single game for 10 years yet.
Yeah.
Even like even stuff like Destiny, it brought out another game, and they're still struggling to keep the players back on the game now.
Struggling now.
It'll definitely be interesting. I think the open world will certainly help. They said that they don't want to make it into like a Destiny type thing.
Yeah.
But there will be like new stuff to do every day on the open world.
Is the open world going to be online?
I don't know. I didn't read into it, but there's going to be like events and stuff.
Because I know it's co-op.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know.
Yeah, and they're bringing back split screen and stuff.
Oh, thank God.
Which is good.
I know that doesn't really matter to us anymore.
Like I haven't played a split screen in years, but I know that people do.
Getting rid of split screen was such a stupid idea. Like split screens were made. Like Halo is a party game, you know.
And it's like that was its main appeal.
Yeah.
As soon as Halo 3 and Halo Reach came out, it was like these are the party games.
Yeah.
If you want to like, you want to invite your friends around, you're playing Halo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, because I think a lot of next gen games got rid of the split screen and co-op because it's like even on the Xbox One they made it harder to like just get other controllers connected, and it was clear that they were trying to push away from that aspect of it, but that was always like things like the Xbox, that was always the appeal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if my friend has a controller, I can invite him around and we can all play the same games, you know. Yeah, so I'm optimistic. I think it'll be hard to fuck it up. I could always see them doing it.
Yeah.
But I think, judging by what I've seen so far, we're in good hands.
Yeah.
So.
And I've seen some like major Halo fans who are liking how it looks. No, it's not like everyone who has played the older games hates this game. There are some people who are looking at it and are thinking like, yo, this looks promising still.
And like, if you think about it in this way, it's like, to say that it's going to ruin the franchise, right? It doesn't change anything about the previous games. You can always go back and play them. They're always going to be the thing that you liked.
Yeah.
You know, sure, there'll be less people playing them, but that's just the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
You know. I think now we can move on to the next thing we want to talk about, and that was the recent controversy around Joe Rogan's comments on gaming. It's basically, for those who don't know, there was a clip emerged on Twitter of a recent Joe Rogan podcast where he was talking about like games, the effects it can have, and he said that you know, it's like the majority of the thing that people took away from it was that he kind of said that you're wasting your time if you spend all day playing games when you could be doing something more productive, and he likened it to, instead of spending hours a day playing games, you could probably spend hours a day learning something like jiu-jitsu and then becoming a high-level jiu-jitsu master, starting your own class, making money and supporting your family and stuff. What do you think about that?
Okay. I don't think he is completely wrong, and I don't think he's completely right. I think part of his take is good, but I also think the other part of his take is terrible. So, first of all, let's touch on gaming being a waste of time. It's not. A lot of friends I've made are from gaming. A lot of my best memories are from gaming. If it was a waste of time, I wouldn't cherish those memories.
Yep.
I want to keep that short, that part short, because I've got more to say in the other aspects.
I do. I think, yeah, because like, I would say I don't think you can say it's a waste of time. I think anything that you enjoy doing, if you enjoy the time that you spent doing it,
Yeah.
it's not a waste of time. The argument that I think what people are kind of not realizing is like, people like that come from Joe Rogan's generation, they were like it was instilled in their brains. It's like if you're not making money, you're a loser and you're wasting your time doing whatever it is that you're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just not it's not true. Even it wasn't true then.
Yeah.
It's even less true now. Um like games are just so much more they're so much more than just something people play to
Mm-hmm.
pass the time, you know? Like it's more than just playing like Pong on your fucking
Yeah.
Atari, you know? Like if you're like 30 years old and you're just playing Pong all day, like if you're
That's a
enjoying it,
problem.
that's fine. But that's I can see I can see the elements of where he said that it is a waste of time in a sense, right? If you're if you're playing games all day and it's having negative effects on other aspects of your
Mm-hmm.
life, work, and your home life and stuff, and you're doing it like instead of like I
Although,
think yeah, it's like to like you obviously have to make money in order to
mm,
survive, you know. I think what he was more talking about is like the people that spend hours a day playing games, doing
gaming
nothing else,
addiction.
not making yeah, like not making any money,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all they do. Yeah, that's a waste of time
But I
because
have a. I believe the counter to that is that isn't the fault of the games themselves. It's the person playing the games not being strict enough on themselves.
hmm
It still doesn't fall under gaming is a problem. Gaming isn't the
hmm
problem. It's the people playing the games that are the problem.
yeah, because it's like you could say that about just about
Yeah.
anything. Like, there's people that are like addicted to the gym and they go to the gym all day instead of like going to their job,
Yeah.
like going home
But
to
the
their
gym isn't the
family.
problem.
Yeah,
It's
It's
their
like
problem for going
Yeah,
there.
it's like you're not gonna just become a bodybuilder because you know, do a few push-ups and run on the
Yeah. Yeah.
treadmill and stuff. Like, unless you're dedicated to becoming a bodybuilder, like, yeah, sure, you gotta stay in shape, but you only have to do so much to stay in shape,
I find it
you
funny
know?
that you said bodybuilder, but then mentioned push-ups and running, which are the complete opposite of bodybuilding.
Hey, well, I'm sure bodybuilders do it. I'm sure bodybuilders do it.
I mean,
Like,
running is counterintuitive to building muscle, but that's a topic for a
yeah,
different day. Let's not get off on that.
I wasn't, but those are just examples I'm just throwing out there. You get what I mean?
But
Like,
see, his like taekwondo or jiu-jitsu, whatever the
mm,
one in particular he mentioned was. I
yeah.
hated that take personally because first of all, we live in the 21st century, so
Mhm,
his way of wording it is basically gaming isn't as useful as learning some things such as self-defense.
mhm,
Yes, it isn't as useful, but how likely are you realistically to get attacked by someone?
mhm.
Like, yeah, it's a useful skill to have, but
I think
when
well, because when he talks about learning jujitsu, right? Because he's like a black belt.
yeah,
He's been doing it for like 30 years or whatever. Like he knows shit about
yeah,
jujitsu. When he more says when you could spend time with jujitsu, his argument was that you could spend the amount of time you spend gaming working at jujitsu to become like a professional, so you can start teaching your own class, charging people and making money,
yeah.
not just like learning for self defense. Because like self
But
defense is
for
like,
other people,
mm,
if they're going to do it, so if you can like set up something in like your local town or whatever, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be teaching jujitsu." But if no one else in that town is interested, you're going to make no money. And
mm-hmm,
let's be real, the interest in that sport is going down. It's
mm-hmm,
not, something that everyone's like, oh, I want to be jiu-jitsu master when I'm older. People are like, I want to be a gamer, you know. The way I say that sounds so,
Yeah,
but no, that's what people are like nowadays. People want to be YouTubers. People want to stream. People want to game, you know, and that's why that is the future.
yeah. Like if you like people took that like 2 minute clip and like they did kind of take it out of context because if you just watch like the next 2 minutes, the conversation pretty much
Yeah,
completely changes on its head. Like the other guy that Joe Rogan was talking to, I don't know who he is, but like he was very much like anti games.
yeah,
Like it's just oh my kids are always like they're talking about these guys and they're like, Dad, if I play enough of it, look, I can become like this guy, I can become a pro. He's like, yeah, but those chances are like 1 in a billion. And then
everything's 1 in a billion.
Like Joe Rogan comes back and he's like, well, it's a little less than it's a little more than 1 in a billion
Yeah,
because like he he was talking about he was talking like the pro scenes of like CS:GO,
yeah,
all this shit, and it's like, listen, these things are just expanding. They're becoming more and more popular.
hmm,
There's gonna become more people doing that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
Look at League
There's
of
people doing
Legends,
jujitsu in like the next 20 years.
and
So yeah, I mean, go ahead.
yeah. There's something else. Oh, jeez. Yo, you continue. I need to remember it.
Yeah, it's like I think in terms of like jujitsu and stuff, it's I don't think jujitsu is probably the thing that people would put their time into as opposed to
Hmm.
games because there's so many other sports out there. I know that his one, but it's like if you think about it in a way, it's like I think comparing a combat sport to
Gaming.
playing
Yeah.
games is counterproductive because if if you look at it in the sense of if you give someone the two choices of spending a few hours a day playing a game of their choice in the their own
Hmm.
to like being safe, to spending hours a day training to get your head kicked in
Yeah.
and kick other people's head in. Like
And it takes a
I
specific mindset to even
mhm,
bring yourself to hit someone else. You know,
yeah,
like
especially in an organized
yeah,
sense.
like you need
Like
to whack these people. You don't even know who they are, and you're
mhm,
just being told, "Yo, you need to beat this guy up." Like,
like I I get that wasn't entirely what he meant.
hmm,
He meant that you could be spending
yeah,
it to do something more like something that could make you money
hmm.
and garner you notoriety, I guess.
Then
But
today, if you commit enough to gaming, you
yeah,
can
it's like
make money doing it. And there are
I,
now, universities opening up courses
mm-hmm,
to like it's becoming a legitimate job nowadays.
mm-hmm,
And I remembered what I was going to say as well. So this is about, it's 1 in a billion. Everything is 1 in a billion. I was told a few months ago by someone who was training to be a doctor. No, it might have been a nurse,
mm-hmm,
but pretty much, even if they passed everything at uni, perfect score, the chances are 3 in 100 people at that course are going to get the opportunity to be a doctor, and only 2 of those 3 people will be a doctor. So even though you've done everything, there's still an aspect of luck to even getting picked,
mm-hmm,
and that's why I don't like it. How he words it is it's 1 in a billion, because it's 1 in a billion for anything. You
mm-hmm,
apply for the most simple job at some store, and you still have to rely on luck. You know,
mm-hmm.
doesn't matter how much work you've put in.
Like the guy that said that 1 in a billion, he's talking to Joe Rogan. Like it was 1 in a billion that Joe Rogan was gonna become Joe
Yeah.
Rogan. Like that was Joe. Like Joe's counterpoint was because he's a comedian. That's what he's most famous
Hmm.
for, right? Uh, he was like, when I was a kid and I told my parents I wanted to become a comedian,
Hmm.
they were like, "Kid, your chances are like slim and none." Like,
Yeah.
they're like, and he was like, "But does somebody do it?" And they're like, "Yeah. Well, as long as somebody can do it, I'm gonna try to be the somebody that does it."
Yeah.
You know, which is a good mindset to have, because as long as you have that mindset, at the very least, you can always say you tried.
Mhm.
But if you read into the odds of like how likely you are to become the thing you want to
Yeah.
be, then you'll never be that thing, because at the end of the day, people are more than numbers. If everybody just accepted
Mhm.
the likelihood of that they're going to achieve something, then nobody would ever achieve anything,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, like, not everybody is supposed to be this big shot
Yeah.
celebrity that
If
everybody knows.
everyone was, then you wouldn't be a celebrity anymore.
Like, at the end of the day, like, think about, like, we didn't even have celebrities until
Very
about,
recently.
yeah, about 80 years ago, maybe, with the invention of like TV.
Yeah.
That was the first, like,
Not even
just
80
like,
years ago, like less
yeah,
time.
because people didn't even have color televisions in their home
Yeah.
in the 80s, you know? It's, I don't know, it's not a thing that everybody is supposed to do.
Mhm.
Because even if you listen to the way that people that are like famous talk about
Yeah.
being famous, it takes a lot of mental
Oh, it
strength in
is
order
like
to
yeah.
cope with it. Like,
And people act like, oh, you're famous, you can't have a mental health issue. No, you
mhm,
can't. You're possibly even more likely to have one because you're famous. Because you've said a lot of times, we weren't made to handle fame to begin with.
mhm.
So when it happens to us, it's like completely turns you over.
Like, you think until even maybe a few hundred years ago, people didn't even know what was happening in other countries until
Mm.
newspapers were invented. Like, we weren't even, we're not even supposed to be mentally capable of knowing what's going on in another country.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if I open my phone, I know the worst thing
Yeah.
that's happening in every
And it's
country,
always the worst
right?
thing you see first.
Yep.
It's
And
never
it's
the
it's
good thing.
always the like, it's always the worst thing that
Yeah, like
resonates with you.
sometimes I'll go on Twitter in the morning, I'll see one bad story, and that'll be me off Twitter for like the rest of the day. Because
Hmm.
there's just some bad stuff going on.
Yeah. So like, and because I remember I saw on Twitter the other day. I think Prince William, the bald one. I'm not sure what his name is. Is it?
I think he's
Yeah, he's like the Duke of
somewhere.
whatever. I don't know. Yeah,
Yo, have you seen
he was
Prince
doing
Philip's full title, by the way?
Prince.
Like,
No,
it's like 4 paragraphs long. It is so long.
yeah, like, but like Prince William was doing like a mental panel with a bunch of like celebrities, like footballers, like British people, right? And I think one of them was a footballer. His name was Andros Townsend,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about how there was a time when he was out of the team. He wasn't really playing too well. He wasn't getting picked to
Yeah.
play. It was having a big effect on his mental health. And someone replied to the video being like, "Oh, you're getting paid fucking stacks the whole time. Yeah, call me whenever you're on the dole, making no money, and then we can talk, right?" And it was like, oh, listen, you know, just because it's I've said it before, it's like, when your bank balance hits a certain number,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't just wash all the problems away,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you know, it's a cliche to say that money doesn't bring you happiness, you know. Certainly money does relieve stress in certain aspects, but your brain doesn't care how much money you have. Your brain's always going to think the same things. So I can understand where that guy was probably coming from, because there's an element of, you know, when like the little guy sees the big guy
Yeah,
complaining, it's always it's always a competition of who like someone's got it
yeah,
worse,
yeah.
you know. But if we only if we feed into that competition of, well, you know, someone's obviously always got to go worse than me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a continuous cycle. Like there is someone in the world who has it worse off than everybody, right? But I'm sure that person isn't going around saying, "Oh, you think you've got problems?"
You tend to find that the people with the biggest problems are the ones that don't mention it as well. They're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that do actually, because it's an actual problem and they don't want to share it. And then the people
Yeah,
with the
like
lesser problems are the ones that go around going like, "Oh, look at me, I've got this
mm,
sad."
like at the end of the day, everybody has problems,
Mm-hmm.
and I think trying to lower them over people
Is the
is,
biggest problem.
yeah, it's a shitty thing to do because it not only
Doesn't make
does it
everything
not
better.
help, it doesn't help your problem, and only makes that person feel worse.
Yeah.
Like that's the big problem with the whole mental health thing is people see other people complaining,
Mm-hmm.
and then like, or not even complaining, just voicing their
Yeah.
problems, and then it becomes, oh, look at this person complaining about their shit when I've got all my shit, and then that's when people start to like repress stuff and just makes it worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, do you want to move on to the last topic? It's been trending recently. Avatar.
Oh
Have you
yes,
watched
Avatar.
it? Yep.
Yeah. So I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender recently. Completed the series because I didn't watch it when I was a kid. Um, why? It was one of those shows I think uh it would pop up when I saw other stuff, and I don't know, it just seemed odd to me, and I just never decided to like look into it. I wish I did, because I would have loved to experience that
Yeah.
show as a child, because it's what like watching it. It's really clear that it's not your like normal kid show.
Mm-hmm.
It is designed with kids in mind, is what I would say.
Yeah.
But like all a lot of the themes in the show are quite dark,
Yeah.
and
They
I would
touched on
say,
genocide in like the third episode.
yeah, like even
Genocide
if
is
you
a
say
dark
something
subject.
like the blood bending, that's insane.
Bloodbending is
That
like
kids
it
watch that.
really hit the edge of the kid
Like
friendly age
they
rating at that part.
they walked right up to the line and
Put their
just shit
finger over it.
on the line.
Yeah.
Like they could have they could have took that a step further. I think if it was made today and it was made as like a 15, they definitely
Oh,
would have
that episode would have
took.
been even worse. And even the sound effects in that episode are like,
Mhm.
oh, it's
Like,
crazy to think about.
but yeah, it's like first I would like to maybe have. There's two ways I think about it. I love it the way it is, but I would also be intrigued to see if they did it with a higher age rating.
They're
Because
making
like,
a live action series of it, made by the exact same people that made the original, and it sounds
mm,
promising.
mm,
And they might make that for an older audience. There's nothing said if it will be for an older audience, but I think it would make sense
mm,
considering the audience has grown up.
is yeah, because like if they made it as a kids show,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they could emulate it the same.
And on top of that, if they make Aang 12, that's going to be weird. Because, like, in the TV show, it's fine, it works. But seeing a live action 12-year-old Aang and 14-year-old Katara would just not sit right in live action. It would feel weird, if you get what I mean. So I think they might
I
up the age of characters a bit as well to fit with the live action element, which I'm fine with as long as it's not too big a difference.
Yeah, for the live action one. I think, who would you want to play someone like Iroh? I think Danny DeVito is a good shout. I genuinely do think he's a good shout.
No, that's a terrible one because Iroh isn't American. If they're going to make an Avatar TV show, Iroh has to be played by a Japanese actor because the Fire Nation is based on Japanese culture.
I know, but I'm thinking in terms of a Western mentality, I guess, with that.
There is a really interesting video with a bunch of like characters that could play actors that could play characters that you should watch. But the idea is that there won't be that many Western actors in it. Because you know the movie?
I haven't seen the movie. I know it's shite.
Don't watch it. I haven't.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it because
the biggest problem with that movie is they had Western actors play all of the characters in a show which was so surreal for incorporating like Eastern elements into it, you know?
I remember I saw a clip of the actor who is it? Dev Patel. I think he was in it, I believe, and I don't know who he played, but he came out after the opening premiere, and he was doing like signings and stuff, and he was apologizing, and he was like, "Sorry about that, guys. It was a bit shit, wasn't it?" And it's pretty funny. I like seeing that transparency of actors who can admit it's like, right, seemed like a good idea at the time, was not good. I think he might have played Zuko.
I have no clue who he played.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I would be interested in a live action Avatar because I think now with things like Netflix,
it's going to be Netflix.
Yeah, I think they've got it down a bit better than it didn't been done previously.
Is a much better thing now as well.
Like if you watch something like The Witcher, right? That easily, if they made that like 10 years ago before Netflix, could have been shit. But it's really good. People really like it. You know, as long as they get the right actors and studio behind it.
Because sometimes people are very keen to meme on Netflix originals. There are some really good ones.
There genuinely is. Yeah. I'm watching. You know what? I'll say it off podcast because I'm afraid if I say what I'm watching on here, some dickhead will spoil it in the comments.
Okay.
But yeah, there's so much stuff. Like if you look at things like Suits or something, even just like they're all like really good. Netflix has. At first, Netflix was a bit of a joke to a lot of people because they were just a company that owned the rights to a lot of movies and like streamed them. Now it's clear because they were in like a fuck ton of debt paying for all those shows. It's clear that they're making their own stuff now to sort of balance the books a bit, I think. And it's actually a really good thing because now like the quality of the stuff that they can make is higher, because I think that was always the vision, was at some point we want to start making our own stuff, but the weight of the amount of money that they had to pay for the rights to they paid like $100 million to get Friends back the second time. That's a lot of money for a company that's like billions in debt, right? And now I know they're letting things like
cut out
there. They're letting shows like Friends go, which I've seen Friends enough, you know.
I've never watched it. I'm not a fan of it.
I can't say I recommend it because liking Friends is a controversial controversial opinion because it's kind of like Marmite. I was gonna say Marmalade. It's like Marmite. You either really like it or you're. But I really like it. I'm not saying, right, people
Marmite or
assume that
Friends? Which one do you like?
what out of which character of the
No,
friend,
no,
which
no,
friend?
no. Do you like Marmite? You said you talked about Marmite and then said I really like it.
I've never tried Marmite,
Oh.
but I like Friends. Um, yeah, because it's like people always think when you say you like Friends, it's like, oh, he's a fucking normie. He only watches like Friends and plays Fortnite and um all that shit, right? And it's like, no,
Fortnite
I
players
like
watch Friends.
what is it?
The Fortnite players watch Friends.
No, but in that kind of like it's a
Oh, okay.
normie,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know. Um, people are like I always say, I was like, I don't think Friends is the epitome of like god tier television.
Yeah.
You know, it's I watch it because it's something mindless and it's fun.
Yeah.
If I ever want to just like, if I'm like fucking stressed out the wazoo, I'll stick on something like Friends
Mm-hmm.
or like a talk show or something like
Yeah.
that. Like it's the staple of like a bygone era
Mm-hmm.
of sitcoms on TV. Like they still make sitcoms, but they don't make them the same way. Like the
Yeah.
laugh track is a thing of the past. Last show to do it was probably The Big Bang,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not even on TV anymore. You look at the shows now like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is sort of meant to be the new it's like the new big thing.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. New season's not as much. The first 5 seasons are pretty good, but it's like a new sitcom. Doesn't use the laugh track at all. Just makes jokes, and yes, it's like because I watch Friends, but I also watch shit like Breaking Bad, Walking
Yeah.
Dead, like good critically acclaimed shows. So I think it's important to just keep an open mind when watching shows like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
So I think this is probably a good time to end it.
Yeah, we got some
Uh,
content. We can make a couple highlights.
yeah, I guess good comeback episode. Uh, Thank you guys for watching. Uh, Probably won't be as long with the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have any, same as last time, if you have any topics about it, make sure to leave them in the comments. Links to mine and Kian's social media in the comments or
Yeah.
in the description. Uh,
And
yeah, that's it.
yeah, thanks guys for watching.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.